The city that works, the city of broad shoulders, a city that's no stranger to the piercing wail of sirens slicing through the night. But on one unforgettable evening, those familiar sounds struck a chord of terror deep in the heart of Chicago, a fear that resonated from the bustling streets to the quietest suburban homes. It was the night we held our breath. The night news broke that our beloved Stella kid, a firefighter as fierce as the flames she battles, was down. And as she was rushed to Gaffney Chicago Medical Center, a collective prayer whispered through the city, "Not Stella." It was a call like any other, yet it was the one that would change everything. A house raid, a situation already fraught with tension and the acrid smell of danger. The brave members of Firehouse 51, a family forged in the crucible of countless blazes, moved with the practiced precision of those who dance with death daily. But in an instant, the familiar rhythm of their heroism was shattered by the deafening roar of an explosion. A bomb. A deliberate malicious act that sent a shockwave of destruction, and with it, a piece of shrapnel that found its mark in Lieutenant Stella Kidd. The moments that followed were a blur of chaos and gut-wrenching fear. The woman who had charged headfirst into infernos, who had pulled countless souls from the clutches of death, was now the one in desperate need of saving. The frantic radio calls, the strained voices of her crew, the sight of her being carried from the wreckage. It was a scene that played out like a nightmare for her husband, Kelly Severide, and for every soul who has ever been inspired by her unwavering courage. For Severide, the race to the hospital was an eternity of torment. Every tick of the clock was a hammer blow to his heart, every red light a cruel delay in a race against time. This was the woman who was his anchor, his partner in a life defined by risk. To see her so vulnerable, her life hanging in the balance, was a torment that etched itself onto his very soul. The waiting room at Gaffney Med became a silent, hallowed ground for the family of Firehouse 51. The usual boisterous energy of the firehouse was replaced by a heavy, suffocating silence, broken only by the rhythmic pacing of anxious feet and the hushed exchange of worried glances. They were a family facing the potential loss of one of their own, and the shared grief was a palpable entity in the sterile, unforgivingly bright room. Inside, Stella fought the battle of her life. The shrapnel had lodged deep, a cruel and invasive violation. The doctors and nurses, heroes in their own right, worked tirelessly, their focused intensity a beacon of hope in the encroaching darkness. As Stella was wheeled into surgery, a city held its breath, a silent vigil for a woman who had given so much of herself to its protection. For Severide, the hours crawled by with agonizing slowness. He was a man accustomed to action, to taking control, but here he was utterly powerless. All he could do was wait, his mind a maelstrom of memories and fears. He saw her infectious smile, heard her hearty laugh, felt the warmth of her hand in his. These were the moments he clung to, the talismans he held against the encroaching dread. And then, after what felt like a lifetime, a doctor emerged. The news, when it finally came, was a collective exhale of relief that seemed to ripple through the entire city. The surgery was a success. The shrapnel was removed. Stella was alive. But the physical wound, as grievous as it was only the beginning of a long and arduous journey. The emotional and psychological toll of that night would cast a long shadow. Waking up in a hospital bed, groggy and in pain, Stella found her husband by her side, his hand holding hers as if it were a lifeline. He hadn't left, and he wouldn't. His unwavering presence was a testament to a love that had been forged in fire and would not be broken by it. The road to recovery was paved with both physical therapy and the quiet, often unseen, battles of the mind. The nightmares came, as they so often do for those who have stared into the abyss. The echoes of the explosion, the searing pain, the terrifying feeling of helplessness. These were the demons that haunted her sleep, but she was not alone in her struggle. Severide was her rock, her confidant, the one who would hold her until the tremors of her fear subsided. The incident also left an indelible mark on another member of their crew, Carver, who was with Stella when the bomb detonated. The shared trauma forged an unspoken bond between them, a silent understanding of the fragility of life and the weight of survival. Stella Kidd's journey back to Firehouse 51 was a testament to her indomitable spirit. Every step she took, every challenge she overcame, was a victory not just for her, but for a city that had watched and prayed for her recovery. Her return to the firehouse was more than just a return to work.